So the Draedon now up.
Dude, it's hard. I know.
So the Draedon update is coming out, and yeah, that's about it. I'm joined here by Obsoleek.
Hey, what's up?
And we're going to be talking about the various things that are changing in this update, and like kind of give you some insight as to what to expect.
Oh, that's such a good change. Holy shit.
Wait, where?
Okay.
Where? What is that?
198. Summons no longer despawn when you die. However, they won't deal damage until you respawn. So you don't have to respawn summons.
Oh my
between
god, that's
deaths.
massive.
Dude, I would include that because honestly, that's huge in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I have the recording right now. I could just include it.
Yeah, no, I would. That's beautiful, dude.
Dude, that's an amazing change. Yeah, okay, quality of life to the limit here.
Yeah, no lie, dude. Holy.
But like, there are so many other good quality of life changes that are implemented, like Goblin Tinkerer. If you didn't know about that one was actually in the trailer. But the Goblin Tinkerer no longer like is completely random. Instead, they have like a pool, or not a pool, but a specific list, and you go down the line of the list until you're at the best.
So
best
you're always
Reforged.
going upwards, basically. No
Yeah,
matter
exactly,
what.
exactly.
Which is super cool.
The order of which is predetermined, obviously. And here's the thing, and here's kind of like a question that I needed to ask to figure out. But if you re-roll over the top one, it's just going to recycle you through the list, and I'm fairly certain negative reforges just don't exist anymore, so like broken, you can't get it. I could be wrong about that.
Interesting.
But I'm fairly certain that
would make sense.
The negative re-rolls.
I can't, I mean, it'd be hard to confirm, but in my mind, obviously you could probably craft a weapon and get like a negative reroll, but I don't think you would be able to you wouldn't be able to forge one. So I don't think if you Goblin Tinker it, I don't think that you would go from like godly to like shoddy or whatever it's called.
Yeah, shoddy. You wouldn't go down on the list, because once you re-roll or reforge, it would probably start you at the bottom of the list, especially if you got a negative re-roll. And then from there, you would only go up. Just a lot of the items in general are getting like a massive change. In terms of
one thing I see is lore items no longer give bonus effects. I don't know if you have that one.
Oh, lore items are just being deleted in general, and all of their effects are being put into different items that are in the game, or the other effects are being deleted because they were basically too hard to balance according to the devs. So it was too difficult to have lore items be functional in the game without being either broken or completely unused, or being completely niche without like a defined purpose. So, for example, the Cryogen lore dash is going to the Ornate Shield, which will disappoint so many people.
I don't know if you think this is important, but starter bag or weapon type varies on world gen ore type. I think that's kind of whatever, but
I don't really think it's important, but I think it's just cool. It's a good quality of life change, just to kind of give you the insight. But seeing as no one uses tin or copper anyways, I don't really think it's mandatory. It's just kind of this exists type of deal.
Potions, dude, because like go to 378 and like down, basically 378 to 390 something.
Yep, I'm aware of this one. Potions are basically being sold by every single NPC in the game. And so you no longer need to like really farm for them, though they are based on progression. So some NPCs are going to be selling potions like earlier than others, or certain potions are going to be accessible before others. And so there is a limit, but I'm fairly certain most of those like kind of are all accessible after Wall of Lesh, I'd assume. I
imagine you just get it whenever like you get the NPC. So like, because I see like the mechanic has builder potions, the what is it? Arms dealer has ammo reserve and hunter battle potions. So it just depends on the NPC. So I think as soon as you get them, at least I would imagine, but I could be wrong.
Well, it literally states at 392 the potions are sold based on progression as well, such as Titan potions only being sold post Skeletron.
Right.
So
Rage rework 400.
Yep, that's also a really nice one.
Yeah, that's definitely something they want.
This I think I actually just need to flat out read. Let's see. Instead of getting rage by taking... Oh, wait, I remember what happens.
Yeah.
Instead of taking damage to get rage, you instead get rage by being close to enemies, so it's basically like proximity. You know the... I think it's called the Samurai Badge? I think that's the accessory. It's like the samurai badge with true melee. The closer you are to enemies, the quicker your melee speed. It's essentially that, but now with a meter that gives you a damage at a certain threshold.
Yeah, and that's super cool. It reminds me of Toho, so that's really good.
Yeah, and apparently Heart of Darkness and Draedon's Heart are actually going to be really good now.
Actually, hold up. Big change. I don't know what number it is, but it's based off of the game called... it's a game that Fab always plays. What is it called?
Ultra Kill.
Ultra Kill, yes.
Yes, the Ranger.
Where when you're closer, yes, the bows and guns, when you're closer to the enemy, you do bonus damage.
Yep, it's point blank mechanic. I'm
yeah.
really excited for that one.
That's cool too.
Yeah, if you're like really close to an enemy with Ranger, then you're just gonna be dealing insane amounts of damage. Oh god, I really want to do that. Like,
dude, this whole
really
update, like Ranger. The rage mechanic, like all of this stuff, dude, is so tight. Like,
there's just so much that's getting updated and it's gonna be really overwhelming. And that's why I'm making this. I wanna make sure that everyone remembers what's going on. There's so much that's happening that it's hard to keep track of. It'd be easier to just kind of listen to two dudes talking about it instead of having to read through all of it.
So wait, non-boss enemies can no longer drop rare variants. Bosses now drop rare variants and legendaries while in Malice mode.
Yep.
Adjusted damage and... Okay, so I guess my question, do you think that it's only in Malice mode that you're going to be able to get those then?
It is only in Malice mode. Okay. Legendary weapons and rare variant items are Malice mode exclusive drops. I know that is confirmed. I also know that Malice mode is basically, to put it simple, a balanced enrage put onto every boss. And then those enrages also stack with a little bit of a, not AI change, but rather a small change to the projectile speed, the boss speed, right? You know, part of that enrage mechanic.
Damage, yeah. I saw damage, like a 35% damage increase.
Yeah, but also, like, projectile gaps. So spacing between the projectiles, there might be a little more projectiles to weave between. So those gaps are going to be harder to reach. We see this in the trailer with Brimstone. The biggest thing that I'm excited for, because I actually suggested something be done with this, debuffs. The entire debuff system is getting reworked. And so now bosses are no longer immune to crowd control. So
what the hell?
Exactly, right? Some bosses are going to be affected by debuffs such as chilled, and be slowed for a certain duration. And I don't know where this changelog is, but if I recall it correctly, they gain like a resistance to that debuff the more it's impacted during their boss fight.
587.
Right? Wow, you found that quickly.
Just Control F, man, Control F. Reworked enemy and boss debuff immunities to make more sense. And then 588 is most bosses are now able to be affected by slowing debuffs like exo freeze and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly.
That's crazy. Okay.
Here it is. However, these debuffs will last for less time and the bosses will gain a 30-second immunity to them when they wear off. That's it. So it's not like a reactive type of thing. It's more or less it happens once, then they gain immunity, then over that immunity time is like a cooldown, then it comes back, you can freeze them again. Now, I'm excited for this, but also terrified, because this can do two things, right? This can benefit you and help you with the fight if absolutely necessary. Like, you can switch to a weapon that applies one of these debuffs if you're in like a pinch and you need the boss to slow down, right? You can do that, and you can manipulate their movement and be like, okay, it's time for me to kind of restabilize and find out what's going on. But at the same time, if you're using a weapon with that consistent slow, what happens if you mistime it and you're expecting an attack that's telegraphed to come at you, and now it's delayed? Right? That's the one thing I'm really worried about, and I'm really concerned people might be complaining about once it actually comes out, because it's like, man, if that happens, you're going to feel bad. It's not going to feel like you should have gotten hit there, or you should have died there, right? That, like, you shouldn't have been punished for that type of a mistake. But at the same time, it's going to be a new mechanic to kind of play around with, and I don't know, I want to see how it turns out. Should we talk about the bosses? I kind of want to talk about the bosses.
I think, okay, so we could go over like a general thing. Like, the general things would be like, okay, well, majority of bosses are having their hitboxes changed, so like it's going to be more accurate. For example, Providence now has like a hitbox of like Wall of Flesh's box size.
Oh,
so I guess it's...
Okay, hold on. Misconception. I actually fell for that one too, but it's not a hitbox. It's her kill box. Like when she dies,
reduce the size of the problem.
Yeah, the loot drops in that box.
I understand. Gosh, yeah, I fell for that bait really hard. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I read box and I was like, oh, hitbox.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But yeah, there was other ones that were mentioning hitboxes though.
Those were really recent changelogs. It's more or less like Plaguebringer Goliath's hitbox is like a circular hitbox, which everyone is happy about. I don't think anyone can complain about that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to screen share this for you. Hold on, I need to find a Twitch clip. Hold on, just give me a minute.
Oh no, is it a Twitch clip of somebody getting PBG'd?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead and find it.
And yep, I found it. I found it.
Oh, beautiful. Alright, yeah, go ahead and
I found it.
Gotta see this.
Yep. Are you ready?
Wait up. Okay, go ahead.
Ready?
Oh boy. I'm imagining you were no-hitting?
Yep.
Oh, that's pain.
This happened like 20 times.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, dude, the hitbox on that thing, at least before this update, was really, really bad.
Oh, it just hurts. It just hurts. Okay, but enough of that.
Good meme though. Good meme.
Good meme.
In terms of if we were to go on separate bosses, what would you think would be, like, good things to mention here?
Separate bosses. Okay, so Eidolon Worm, right? Eidolon Worm, if you don't know, turning into a boss, right?
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, the adult Eidolon Worm is turning into a boss. And so it will no longer be, like, a massive gatekeeper of the Abyss, unless, they just make the boss summon whenever you use Chaos State, which I think would be really cool and really funny at the same time.
Yeah, true.
And then if you use Chaos State during the fight itself, it probably just enrages him to beyond comprehension and just nukes you instantly. That would be really funny, and I'd love it. Another boss that's kind of getting reworked in the same sort of way is Aquatic Scourge. Because there was one changelog I remember reading where it mentioned that Aquatic Scourge was, or would now get a, new mechanic applied to his movement, where he would become more or less aggressive based on if he was in the water or not.
Oh yes, I did see that changelog,
yeah, Aquatic Scourge would be, more or less enraged based on that. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it here.
It said something about, basically the gist of it was when he's wet, he's calmer, and then whenever he's not wet, he's gonna be more angry.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to make sure I was, correct on that because I didn't know which one was which. I didn't know if he was gonna be, calm or dry. It would make sense if he's calmer when wet, but, you never know.
Yeah, no, I get you, yeah. It's better to just, especially when you're making a video about something, it's always better to just be,
it's better to be accurate, yeah.
Yeah, always double check, so.
Yeah. And then, on, a majority of this, hold on. Yeah, so, basically, 2 new water bosses, in a sense. So, a way to kind of mix up the use of accessories, you're finally going to use Leviathan's ambergris, or whatever it's called.
Something that's very useless right now.
You're gonna give these water-based items a niche that's actually used, and not just a niche that exists. Right? It's going to have this purpose instead of just existing because it can. And I think that's going to be really, really cool because, we haven't seen that yet. This is one of the first major times in the Terraria community as a whole where we get a big underwater boss, and I think that's going to be just
I think the only one that has it is Thorium with the Abyzzon or something. I forgot what it's called, but it has I know they have one boss, but it's not really that great in my opinion. So
yeah, and I haven't played Thorium, so I wouldn't know about that.
Got you.
Yeah, I kind of keep my eyes to Calamity and
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm in the same way because not a lot of mods can keep my my attention in that regard.
Oh, and I didn't even touch up on the post-Moonlord scaling. You know about that change, right?
Yeah, basically they're making it so that it's 80% reduced damage or something, basically reducing power creep.
Yeah, the overall idea is essentially removing power creep. And doing their very best to get rid of that altogether. Because as it stands right now, the scaling in the game post-Moonlord, essentially you're going from weapons that deal 200 damage, like 100 to 200 damage as base values. Every single tier, you're usually multiplying that, and it's a multiplicative increase to a point where you're dealing between 100 and 200 base damage to a point where you're dealing like 40,000 and 70,000 base damage on certain weapons. Like,
oh yeah,
and that's on the high end of the scale. That's a little bit dynamic, right? Morasama comes to mind, but you get my point. Like, the damage gap between Moonlord and Supreme Calamitous is nowhere near the damage gap between Moonlord and Wall of Flesh. Like, it is so far off.
Yeah.
And what they're basically trying to do is trying to eliminate a lot of that, a lot of those like heavy tier shift and heavy gaps and heavy increases in upgrades, so that you're inevitably making more weapons viable. Because if you decrease the overall difference in damage between two different tiers, those two tiers are going to be closer in their damages. So you could full-on skip a tier if you wanted to, and it would still be viable. I mean, I've seen people in no-hit say that Cleansing Blaze is viable for Escal. Like, that blew my mind, because that weapon is absolutely garbage in the first place. And now you're telling me that a weapon that is dropped from Devourer of Gods, a weapon from Devourer of Gods can be fought reliably against Supreme Calamitous. Like, this, mind-blowing, right?
Like, that's crazy.
Like, I love that. I love that. And also,
that's a good change.
The thing that people don't know about this is that it will change how we perceive weapons. Because given that all of these weapons are being changed to fit this new system, every single weapon is being rebalanced. Which means that, like, overall, players are going to be experiencing new weapon choices despite having them in the current version.
Yeah, exactly. So now you don't have to go the same route that you usually always go. Or, like, you know, like, because I know when I play, I typically don't go really off my route too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so being able to do that is really, really cool. So, yeah, I get you.
And I know that there are, like, some weapons that are in the game that people just don't know exist because they're not, like, quote-unquote, competitively viable, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But, like, the weapons just aren't... They don't have the potential to deal the damage that you really need to deal in order to you know, optimize the top tier kind of damage that you really want to look out for.
Yeah, you want the fight to be usually over as quick as possible, so that you make less mistakes, or less time to make mistakes, more like.
Yeah.
And so, you know, using a weapon that's just trash is usually not, you know, the way to do that. So yeah.
Creating optimal builds has been a big thing in the past updates, since, you know, the game hasn't really changed too much. I mean, it's been almost a year since we've had a big Calamity update.
That's crazy, yeah, Rust and Dust.
Players can now try out different weapons, and they'll be, like, equivalent to weapons of a previous or future tier, or a weapon that's on the same tier.
Yeah. Long story short is, like, every weapon should be viable, basically.
Every weapon should be viable. Like, that is a very good way of putting it, thank you.
No, you're fine.
Wait. Okay, I think this is just funny, but this is just a story. So, regarding the horizontal glide speed multiplier on the minecart, like the backwards long jump minecart exploit. Yeah, so this is just a funny story regarding me, but the day after Bronze made that video and it was posted to the Calamity main server, I decided that I would go ahead and try to actually speedrun clipping outside of the game and crashing the game by breaking outside of the hard-coded world barrier on the right or left side of the world.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't end up doing a speedrun of the thing, I just ended up playing around with testing. But I just think it's funny how two changelogs down it says added a speedrun timer config.
And
it was patched the day of.
So so it's like, hey, we just saw someone try to speedrun it or speedrun something. Let's go ahead and add a timer, but also fix it.
Yeah, let's just add a speedrun timer config to the game itself, because, you know, that might be a good idea.
Yeah,
like,
that's too
I
funny.
don't think that I made any impact on that whatsoever, but I just think it's really funny.
It could be. I mean, honestly, it's like, it's possible, but, you know, you never know. It's hard to say.
Boss summon items. They're permanent, all of them.
Oh, yes, that's a huge one. I really, really, really like that change, by the way. That's a fantastic one.
There's not much else to say, though. They're just not consumable. They're taking into consideration of, like, things such as the archery potion, making it, like, do less damage as a potion, and instead buffing the base weapons that the potion buffs. Right? Like, that's a huge thing. That's a huge deal. Because then you don't need a potion to make your class type viable. And boss reworks as well, such as Ceaseless Void. Really excited for that one.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, I hated the normal fight right now. I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest, but hopefully it's better.
Yeah, I'm not really either. I just find it a little bit too repetitive, though I'm fine with how it is. It's just I would appreciate seeing it under a new light, and that's the devs delivered, so...
Yeah, true.
So can't complain. It's just going to be like a wind box fight, which I think is going to be really cool, and it really fits Ceaseless Void's lore of being like endlessly hungry for power. So in the trailer you can see it as well. It's like sucking in the voids and slowly bringing you in with it, but the voids are going faster, so it turns into kind of a circular bullet hell, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks pretty sick.
Gave Rev Wall of Flesh a new attack. That was necessary.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but Wall of Flesh was a very like just fight. And basically you just do the same movement 300 times and then the fight's over.
And then change how Dragon Folly spawns its feathers. Like, there's so many good things that are happening here. Like, they're breaking down the things that are problematic to a larger side of the community, and also fixing the problems that they see are problematic, despite how the community reacts to it.
Yeah, I still think that they're like maintaining like their own direction, basically, which is good. Like, I don't feel like they're not listening to the community. I don't feel like they are
being driven by it,
listening to the community too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not being controlled by the community, but they're also being like kind of driven by it to an extent.
They know it. I don't know, like they're good, or Fab, or you know, just everybody involved. They are good at making like good changes. I mean, I can't really think about anything that was added that I'm like, you know what? I wish Calamity never added that. Like, yeah, I can't really think of anything.
It's one of those things where, like, they're just doing everything right, and I don't know where to complain about it, because I literally can't.
Yeah.
If I could, I would. Right?
Yeah, no, but like legitimately, it's like really, really hard, because it's like, man, like you literally are just killing it in every aspect, so you can't really complain too much.
True. And I mean, they're also pushing for the quality over quantity, and making sure that, like, you know, they're taking their time with everything without also just not delivering anything. They're still getting things done, which I think also, it's just insane, man.
Oh yeah, dude, like, I mean, we're in good hands, thankfully.
Yeah. But I'm looking at some of the other ones here too, like increase the pick speed and the and how most pickaxes now like mine much faster and everything. Like, that's just more QOL, good stuff. Placement speed and everything increased, and then the base. This one I think is going to be really fun personally, and I won't spoil this, but I'm working on something, this changelog 708 edited the player's base max run speed to increase by 50%, meaning you'll now be able to run at 23 miles per hour instead of 15 before you get Hermes boots. And that is going to be a lifesaver for me. I love this change so much.
And why do you say that? I mean, I want to go fast too, so I mean, I don't blame you, but like, why?
I can't say that yet. This is a project that I have in mind. I won't say it because I have like a whole idea here.
Oh, okay, that's cool though. Cool.
True melee, melee, and defense damage. Though those are two big things that are happening. So true melee, first off, is getting like the big rework, right? Most of the base swords in the game are getting like larger or having their swing speeds increased, or just true melee is getting a massive buff overall. Like, the weapons are becoming more consistent. They have different effects based on, you know, what items you use. I know, for example, one of them is the adamantite sword, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, we're considering this first off as a weapon, right? This is a weapon that you will be using in the Calamity 1.5 update. That's one of the like, that right there, just in itself, blows me away.
It's insane. Yeah, no, because it's like, dude, using any of those swords is like, or anything, any of those swords especially is like unheard of. It's like, no one's ever like, oh, like, I'm gonna use this for like XYZ boss. No, it's like, that weapon doesn't even exist, basically.
Yeah, they're just bad. But now they're getting buffed as true melee weapons, and now they have like diverse effects. They're much faster, much larger, and able to be actually used reliably. And here's one of the things that is happening to the adamantite sword, from what I've heard as well. It's applying a slowness debuff.
Oh, okay, that's sick. Yeah.
So, like, some of these weapons, and some of these true melee weapons will be changed to apply debuffs, or to apply effects, or to just be larger, be, like, more powerful, and just reliable weapons that can actually be used as true melee weapons, because they're never considered anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And even in the place where they actually shine, they're not considered, because there's so many better options. And so that's what I think is really cool. They're just not leaving behind any weapons. And moving on to that as well, true melee with this buff is also getting a nerf, because there's a new mechanic called defense damage. And you can probably find the changelog for this, but I don't know where it is right now. But I just want to explain it. So defense damage is essentially, when you take a hit, it's going to act similarly to the blood flare core. Your defense is taking a hit, so you'll like essentially take more damage from preceding hits after the initial. And so if you get hit once, at maybe like 100 defense, then you'll have 70 defense, and that's your defense damage, and that will regenerate over time. But it's to help bosses really destroy you. And like,
if you're like really messing up,
if you take basically I just can't think of the right word here. I'm trying to think, like successive hits, I guess.
Or yes, I know what you're talking about. It's like, you know what I know.
We both know what we're talking about. We just can't get it.
No, I get you. I fully understand what you're talking about. Yeah, I agree. So that's a good change too. So basically, if you're taking more than one hit, basically, long story short, you're going to be taking much more damage.
Yeah, I think concurrent is a better
concurrent, or like it's like
you know, we're not gonna worry about it. People get it, but
it's bothering me. But yeah, I agree.
But basically, that's to remove face tanking. So you can't use strategies that will just like, you know, you'll sit on top of a boss and just take no damage whatsoever, because as long as you're taking more damage, that defense damage is gonna add up, and suddenly you're here with basically 0 defense because you're taking so much damage at a reoccurring rate. I'm gonna look at where...
That's such a good change.
Okay, here it is, 202, the defense damage system. Okay, so the defense... Okay. Yeah, so defense damage will not replenish while you have any immunity frames active, and whenever you take damage, let's see. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Whenever you take damage, a gray negative number will pop up to display how much defense damage you took.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Okay, didn't actually know that one, but I guess that's kind of cool.
That's a first.
That's gonna take some getting used to, though. I'll be honest.
Seeing a number,
new UI in Calamity is gonna take time to get used to, at least for me.
No, I agree.
There won't be like issues with Elemental Axe as a minion, like, or the the twins minion as well. If you know about those two, those are probably the two most commonly known and notorious minions that have iframe issues currently, but in both Vanilla and Calamity. I've heard a lot about this too. But Summoner is getting a new mechanic, and I don't know what it is. I just heard they're getting a new mechanic. And that mechanic is trying to make Summoner a lot more engaging. That's all I know about it, and I really want to see what it is.
That sounds exciting. I mean, you can mention that if you want. Just be like, we don't know what it is really, but we just know that something's coming out to give Summoner more engaging gameplay. That would be kind of neat to just mention.
Yeah, they're making they're making Summoner more more engaging, and it's gonna be cool. That's the extent of it.
Yeah, I mean that's plenty for me. I mean, shit.
And especially given the change that we mentioned at the beginning, like with summons not needing to be resummoned upon respawn.
Yeah, very true. I think that's dude. Like that change, godlike, actually, just so good. Oh, the Armageddon change. I don't know if you want to mention that, but it's only the first time that you kill the boss. If you kill the boss with Armageddon for the first time, you get the extra bags. But if it's not the first time, you don't get any extra bags.
I just saw that 526, right?
I think so. I'm not looking at the doc right now, but it's yeah. Basically, it just says like something about Armageddon. What does it say? Like.
A boss killed while Armageddon is turned on will have, or will still drop 6 treasure bags, but only if you haven't killed that boss before. Yeah, I saw that. So that is basically just to remove the farming aspect of the of course, the no-hit thing, which I think is really cool as well. I mean, it's also one of those things where like you could say it's a quality of life that they're actually removing.
Yeah,
but at the same time, that's not the intention of the item. Right, the intention of the item was to be a unique challenge, and there would be a benefit to those who would accomplish it. But then you have people who are activating it just to reap the benefit of being overpowered. And then there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that thing would be the method in which we summon Draedon and summon the Exomechs. Because
and do we know anything about that?
I have only theories, but I think I have a pretty good idea. So, back when we looked at the Draedon trailer, we see that there are encrypted data little pieces being put into a machine, and you can see this code scrolling up during the trailer. At the end of the trailer, before like all the information about Draedon is revealed, and like all of the Exomechs and everything, right? And all those designs. Now, what you have here are the encrypted schematics. It's the exact same sprite that exists in the game. With the tooltip, it's impossible to decipher. Now, what I'm thinking is that you have to load and collect those specific pieces and put them into the area for Draedon.
Like altar kind of thing? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, I'm at the changelogs at like 6:15. And it says added a codebreaker base and a decryption computer, right? These two are the big selling points of this, right? Because we have the decryption little or encrypted code file or whatever, right? So if we have a decryption computer, I'm assuming that those are the files that we need to decrypt into that computer. Now, those,
that makes sense to me.
Those files are found in every single one of the Draedon labs, so this is very well reinforced. And I think that's really how we're going to be looking into summoning Draedon. And so if you really want to, I would heavily recommend going into your worlds and grabbing those encrypted schematics so that you may upload them to the decryption computer, which will likely have a crafting recipe once 1.5 drops. As if it doesn't, I would be kind of sad. I would recommend getting those because you're going to be uploading those chips to this decryption computer, and that would be your method kind of for summoning the Exomechs and getting to kind of see this new boss right off the bat, which I think is going to be awesome. I'm not sure about Eidolon Worm. I don't know how to summon them.
Yeah,
you might just be able to Chaos State again.
Is it like confirmed that like it's going to be a boss in this update?
Yep, it is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep. It was a boss in the trailer, so
I guess you're right. Yeah,
it's going to be there. Yeah, but yeah, I think that'll do it. Thanks again,
sick, man.
And yeah, thanks for joining me. Appreciate
no problem, man. No big deal. Have a good one, bro.
You too. I'm gonna cut off the ending recording there, but we haven't recorded an introduction.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
So I still don't know what to do for that.
Oh, so wait, are we just using that like entire bit as like the video basically?
Yeah.
I'll unironically have to say like and subscribe.
Oh, by the way, I'm taking that audio clip of you and definitely putting it at the very end of the video.